Welcome back, Troglodytes, to another episode of Trogly's Guitars. Today we have one of these artist-inspired, customized Les Pauls. This is a 1989 Gibson Les Paul Custom that's been kind of given the Peter Frampton look-alike makeover. Similar to that Ace Frehley one, everything except for the middle pickup has pretty well been done. But my luthier will be glad to help you out if you would like that third humbucker added. But yes, this is a vintage Les Paul Custom. Good playing shape. It's got a lot of issues as far as finish and wear go. But believe it or not, this thing was sold to me as mint condition. Unfortunately, it's not, but let's go ahead and go over this guitar. Face of the headstock shows average string change wear and tear and some light dust here as we hit it in the light. But overall, I mean, it's not too bad of a guitar as far as condition goes. There's some deeper scratches here where when you're turning the peg and sometimes the loose string will scratch the face of the headstock, but you can kind of see some of that. I mean, it's not too bad. I mean, I've seen a lot worse, but there's something we need to go over up right here. You'll see this better in the Blacklight test, but a small strip of this has been refinished for some reason, or touched up at one point in time. You can see it's noticeably wider. I mean, it has aged some, and it's not because there was a huge chunk broken off of this guitar or anything. It does not appear that there has been any of that, but there has been that on this side. But that one, ironically, wasn't touched up as much. It's really kind of hard to see. It's just a very tiny chip. Starts like right here and goes around, but that was glued back in. And really, it's not too overly detectable, but you do have a ding right there. So no like structural breaks, like where it matters, but you do have some chipping on the sides. Unfortunately, I don't know what they stored this guitar on, but it does have a serious case of stand rash. I mean, it looks like they put it on something hot like this and it just melted the finish away, especially on the side that you'll see here. It's pretty, it looks like it was melted, but no real damage to the wood. You could always take a black Sharpie and make it a little bit less noticeable. So a lot of cosmetics going on the front of the headstock, but overall the guitar is perfectly fine to play. Still have your original nut left. The frets do show some very light wear and tear, but they're definitely still playable and have pretty good sized frets left. I would say you have 2 to 3 more levels and recrowns left on these guys. Ebony fretboard is in good shape. Alright, so if you know anything about 1988 and 1989 very early 90 Les Paul Customs, they have their own special circuit board pickups designed by Bill Lawrence called the Originals. This guitar has one of those. So thankfully you do have the original in the bridge. However, the neck pickup has been swapped out to what I believe is a 57 Classic. It has that patent applied for stamp underneath it. I think it could be like a burst buck or two, but I'm gonna go with a 57 Classic. And no third pickup has been added to this guitar yet. Once again, my luthier would be happy to help you after purchase if you would like to add that third to really complete the Frampton vibe. I believe Frampton's was a 50s Les Paul Custom that kind of got destroyed lately, but I know they have a Gibson reissued one that has like the inlays missing on the front of the headstock and whatnot. And I'm sure my luthier can help you make it look as close to that as well, but we're just talking about the guitar right now. Plastics, everything's been changed. You have your cream humbucker rings. They almost kind of look historic spec to me. Don't quote me on it, but they do feel very close to that kind of quality. Poker chip and switch tip obviously changed, and the knobs changed for the Frampton vibe, gold speed knobs and all that. Bridge tailpiece are original, and really the front's in decent shape. You know, I'll run the light over it here. There are some very light nicks and dings, but you know, nothing too incredibly bad. You've got some impressions there. That's probably the worst of it right here, where that impression is. But just, you know, if you own a black guitar, you've just got to know that everything is going to show. We've got some dings there as well. So it's not a mint condition guitar. A polished job would do it well, but I think the state that it's at right now is perfect because it's not overly worn, it's not overly disgusting. It's been wiped down, but still shows honest play wear. Back of the headstock, serial number 81, looks like 6646 maybe? I might be reading that wrong, it's kind of hard to see, but it is there. Made in USA stamp, once again got that wear on the side. Now no actual breaks to the headstock, but we'll look at it under Blacklight. I would say it has your typical 90s profile for one of these. It's kind of 60s style, but it just has a little bit extra to it. I mean, not too much. And you do have some paint wear on the back of the neck and some wear there, but overall it plays good. The back definitely exhibits some pretty heavy buckle wear. Nothing that really, you know, destroys the finish, but it definitely is impressed into there pretty well. Now something to note about this top strap button here, the strap buttons have been replaced, and the screw that's currently in this is a little bit too small for the route. So you can kind of see this little peg right here. It's actually kind of like a piece of leather that they kind of dangle down in there that kind of helps the screw grip. So it works perfectly fine now. I just want you to know about that, and there is some kind of a strap wear around here. So this is definitely a road-worn guitar, but you know, Frampton's is too. So it's definitely an option for somebody who wants the Peter Frampton signature model, but doesn't want to pay $4 grand for it, because you can pick this one up for a little more than half that price. And that's where these dressed up vintage customs come in handy. We'll take a look under Blacklight here. You can see that touch up a lot better. But other than that, the headstock's not too bad. Once again, you got the wear on the side of the neck. The face of the guitar is pretty good though. You can see some minor dings, and that the knobs are not vintage. Oh, I forgot to mention there's a very, very tiny touch-up right there as well. It's not like a mini toggle or anything, it just looks like it was a ding that they had touched up at some point in time. And the pickguard has been removed, but the screws are still there. Okay, if you can see the serial number better here, 8180, looks like 9646. And you've got that wear and tear. That's that little chip I was talking about. You can kind of see the finished discoloration. And that's just some wear and tear in general. Once again, the wear on the side of the headstock from a stand, but no actual repair on the guitar here. You can see some finish checking though. There it kind of pops up a little better. And the light nicks and dings on the neck. The back's in good shape though. Take a look at the sides here. There you can see that strap wear a little bit better too. So not a mint condition guitar, but not completely trashed either. This Les Paul Custom weighs 9 pounds, 11.5 ounces, which isn't too bad for a Les Paul Custom. Hypothetically, it comes with its original case. These cases were introduced in the very early 1990s. You can see the Gibson logo is a little bit off-placed on this example, but you do have some wear and tear in the toe lex and all that. And I say it's hypothetically the original one because it is one of the first issues with what they call the pink blanket. Unfortunately, it's come attached from down there. It is still attached here, but just very barely. But it is still included. So this is the very first iteration of the Gibson Brown case that they still use today. I'm guessing this 89 sat in the store for like a year or two until these were released in probably late 89 and the early 90s. So it's definitely era correct. You can see that the locking mechanism is completely missing on the top and bottom. But even Gibson says themselves that they don't use that because all it does is keep innocent people innocent. Because if somebody's gonna steal your guitar, they're just gonna steal your case too. But it's good for keeping out children from your guitars, I guess. Obviously, it could use a quick sweep out, but I'll probably do that for you. And you have a nice little compartment lid in there, and it holds the guitar very well. Clean tones will be running through a Gibson Super Gold Tone GA30R. Distorted tones will be running through a Marshall JMP1C.
If you think you might be interested in owning this Frampton-like custom, feel free to contact me on my Facebook page, facebook.com/Troglys, Trogoys, or check out the Reverb and eBay listings. Alright, I hope you enjoyed Troglodytes, and we'll catch you next time. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Take care.
Bye.